Today, I want to share with you a conversation I had with a team lead about requiring the seller's disclosure notices be updated to the new form that was effective September 1. In this particular scenario, the team lead had several buyer's agents who negotiated and executed contracts after September 1, but in their file was the SDN, or seller's disclosure notice, completed on the old form. The team lead said his buyer's agents had asked for the new form but were unable to get it. He asked me if his buyer's agents would face any problems down the road for failure to obtain the SDN on the new form, which was effective September 1. I explained to him that failure of the seller to provide the SDN on the new form after September 1 effectively meant the seller did not provide the SDN. And the only recourse under the statute for failure to provide that form is that buyer has the right to terminate the contract for any reason prior to closing. If buyer decides to close the transaction, he waives that right to receive the new SDN. So in other words, there is nothing that makes the buyer's agent liable after closing simply for failure to receive the right form. What liability does remain after closing, and this liability remains whether the correct form was provided or not, is failure to disclose defects existing and known on the property to the buyer before closing. If seller or his agent, or the buyer's agent for matter of fact, knows of any defects on the property and does not disclose those to the buyer, and buyer relies on that misrepresentation, which is misrepresentation by omission, and buyer is then damaged by that misrepresentation because he has to pay to repair those defects, then seller and agents are liable. As long as the buyer's agent is not aware of defects on the property that have not otherwise been disclosed to buyer, the buyer's agent will not have ramifications after closing for failure to obtain the correct and updated SDN form. On the flip side, sellers and sellers' agents face the biggest issues for failure to update the SDN on the correct form. The first, buyer can terminate the contract at any time and for any reason before closing for failure to receive the correct SDN. The second issue, if seller or seller's agent fails to disclose defects that would have otherwise been disclosed had they used the proper form, seller and seller's agent will be liable to buyer if buyer is subsequently damaged by failure to disclose. Once again, I hope this video podcast explains some of the issues you may be dealing with. If you have further questions, concerns, or topics you would like me to address, please email me at tipoftheweek@allegiancetitle.com. Allegiance Title is your trusted resource for results.